Dr. Pes Vin calibrated the observation array in the Thelthar Institute's main lab. The memorial statement was already drafted. Today, he would record a human mass casualty event.
These creatures have signed up for their own execution.
The feed from Earth materialized. A garish outdoor stage under bright sunlight, a row of humans in numbered jerseys, and an impossible mountain of what they called hot dogs. Competitor number 1 was a wiry human named Joey Donovan. Sweat already slicked his dark hair. His stare was dead, focused on nothing. The horn sounded. Joey's jaw opened wide and he began to chew with a rhythm that seemed almost industrial, methodical, unhesitating, wrong. Immediately, the bioscanner erupted in red alerts. The stomach distension metrics had already crossed the lethal threshold for every known species in the galactic compact. Pes Vin's hand froze above the console. He had calibrated that scanner himself 3 times earlier that morning.
Recalibrate the scanner. There's a feedback error. It must be.
But on the screen, Joey had already inhaled his 4th hot dog. The scanner finished its recalibration, and the numbers climbed even higher. He had come expecting a tragedy. Now, as the numbers refused to stop climbing, a far darker question took root. He ordered the scanner to recalibrate a second time. It ran, confirmed, and still marked the stomach volume as fatal.
3 calibrations. All 3 agree. The humans are not dying.
Zix entered the lab, carrying a transparent sample jar. Her purple hands clutched it as if it might shatter.
Doctor, I've prepared the containment jar for biological sample collection. Should I extract a saliva sample from the feed?
Later. Right now, I need to know if this is a solitary anomaly. Bring up the biometrics on the other contestants.
The scanner swept over the row of humans. Competitor 2, 3, 4, all displayed the same organ distension profiles. The memorial statement now looked like a naive prayer.
Every single one of them is a walking gastric anomaly. Record everything. Raw data, unfiltered. This is not isolated biology. It's a threat pattern.
Zix nodded, her purple hands trembling as she activated the archive protocols. Behind them, both, the memorial statement sat unread. Pes Vin pulled every human medical database the compact had authorized. Nothing described a voluntary ingestion capacity beyond 2 times stomach volume.
The humans have no record of their own capacity. Either they have hidden it deliberately, or they never cared to find out.
On the Earth feed, Joey plunged a hot dog bun into a cup of water. He held the soggy mass, then crammed it into his already full mouth. The water softened the bread, allowing faster swallowing, but it did not explain how the stomach itself had not ruptured. The bioscanner delivered a new warning in flashing crimson. Organ rupture predicted in 120 seconds. Yet Joey's heart rate never spiked. His oxygen saturation held steady. The biological alarm was being ignored by the biology itself.
This defies every law of gastrophysiology I have ever studied. The stomach walls should have torn 3 hot dogs ago.
Zix merely stood frozen, her sample jar halfway raised. Her antennae were pressed completely flat against her skull. Pes Vin accessed a structural comparison. Human gastric tissue lacked the molecular elasticity of known distensible species. And yet, no biological precedent, no medical explanation. The lab fell into a terrible silence as Joey swallowed another whole hot dog on the feed. The contest hit the halfway mark. Joey's tally reached 35 hot dogs. Pes Vin's console ran a predictive extrapolation. A single number pulsed on the screen. 70.
70. The historical record confirms it. This is a sport to them. If he survives 70, every compact medical text is obsolete.
Zix checked her sample jar as if it might contain an answer. The lab's air scrubbers hummed, but the oxygen felt thin. Pes Vin issued a cold command to the lab AI, monitor until the final dog, Do not stop recording.
Zix, contact Director Novash. Tell him we have a red level anomaly.
Director Novash is in a deep sleep cycle. Waking him means invoking emergency protocols.
Do it. If I am wrong about 70, we'll pay the protocol fines. If I am right, the compact needs to know.
Pess. Vin turned back to the feed. Joey had reached 38 hot dogs. 42 more to go. The premonition twisted in his gut like a blade. Meanwhile, Pess Vin pulled up the full archive of this Nathan's famous contest. It stretched back over a century, year after year. The winning totals clustered around a shocking number: 70 hot dogs. The current leader was not an outlier.
Doctor, according to this, humans have been doing this annually for over 100 years.
Six expanded the search. Pie eating, wing eating, even milk drinking challenges, all within the same death-defying volume range. Pess Vin opened a direct line to the Compact's Office of Biological Compliance. A colleague's hologram materialized. Before Pess Vin could finish, the colleague's face contorted in silent laughter.
This is not a joke. I have live biometrics showing 4 times lethal ingestion without injury.
The colleague's reply was dismissive, telling him it was just a primitive eating contest, and that he had been in the lab too long.
Then I will make them see. I'll submit the full report.
He killed the channel. Back on the feed, Joey had swallowed his 46th hot dog. The clock read 7 minutes left. Pess Vin initiated a deep gastro-tissue scan, pushing the bioscanner's resolution to its maximum. The machine began to whine, straining.
It's overheating, but I need to see the stomach wall stretching in real time.
A temperature warning flashed. The scanner's core was approaching critical meltdown, and a klaxon echoed through the lab.
Doctor, the equipment can't sustain this. We'll lose the entire array.
But Pess Vin didn't move. He overrode the safety limit, and the scanner's hum rose to a painful pitch.
I will not stop now. Look at the data. The stomach hasn't torn. It's stretching, not rupturing.
But the coolant system is failing. You'll kill us all.
A panel on the scanner sparked, smoke curling upward. The smell of burning circuitry filled the lab. Zix backed away, her sample jar dropping to the floor with a crack. The recording light still flickered red in the haze. On the feed, Joey stood unfazed, cramming his 50th hot dog past his lips. The clock showed 4 minutes left. 2 Felthar interns, a green-skinned and a blue-skinned, collapsed onto each other. The stress had broken them. Zix grabbed a fresh sample jar and pressed it to her fanged mouth. A piercing scream echoed through the lab. Pess Vin forced a cold reboot of the overheated scanner. When it flickered back, the readout showed a new figure: 4 times lethal volume.
Voluntary pyloric control. Could they be bypassing normal gastric peristalsis entirely?
He tried to voice the idea, but Zix only stared at the smoking hardware, her jar trembling in her thin fingers. Then, Zix's antennae drooped, and she crumpled. An intern caught her before she hit the floor. Pess Vin didn't look away. On the feed, Joey reached 55 hot dogs. The clock showed 90 seconds. The human showed no sign of slowing.
A species that can weaponize its own digestive tract, and they turned it into a festival.
The lab lay in chaos, but inside Pess Vin's skull, the framework of a paper was already forming. Pess Vin called up the gastric rupture thresholds of 50 other compact species. All failed at 1.5 times normal volume.
Humans evolved on a death world. Their bodies treat lethal thresholds as suggestions.
On the contest stage, Joey hit 60 hot dogs. The announcer's voice broke with excitement. The Coney Island crowd erupted. Hands rose with foam fingers, and the sun flashed off the water behind them. Pess Vin's remaining scanner showed Joey's stomach at 4 times normal volume. Heart rate, 72 beats per minute. The X-ray overlay showed the stomach wall thinned to a transparent film. yet the tissue held.
This is beyond an anomaly. This is a tactical bio-feature the compact has no category for.
He imagined the paper he would write. The title was already clear: a reclassification petition.
Human esophageal capacity as a strategic threat. Yes.
The lab was ruined, but his mind was steel. Joey had just made 60, but 70 and a new reality were coming. He pulled the compact's biological threat archive. The database held no entries for competitive consumption among humans.
A gap this large in a colonized species file is not an oversight.
Before he could open the director's priority channel, a wailing klaxon sliced through the lab. Another intern unconscious. He did not turn to look. His eyes remained riveted to the holographic feed. On the stage, Joey Donovan passed 65 hot dogs. The digital clock read 1 minute.
I will not act on partial data. The final count must be absolute. The institutional silence is not accidental. Someone hid this.
The smoke alarm triggered a cascade alert. He punched the override without looking at the flashing control. 66, 67. Joey's feeding rhythm never broke, his jaw a mechanical piston. In 90 seconds, Pes Vin would have his final number. Then he would make the galaxy understand. On the feed, Joey swallowed his 68th hot dog, then his 69th. The digital clock ticked its final seconds. The horn blared. The digital clock froze at 0. 70 hot dogs. The stadium erupted.
Ladies and gentlemen, 70 hot dogs. A new world record. Joey Donovan is your champion.
The bioscanner emitted a final, piercing whine. The stomach volume gauge hit 4.1x lethal. Then the screen dissolved into static. The lab fell into a vacuum. Not a single Thelthar breathed. The screen still showed Joey raising a fist. Then Zix screamed, a raw, fanged shriek that echoed off the metal walls. She clutched the sample jar to her chest.
This was not a contest. It was a threat display. And the galaxy had no idea.
Pes Vin stared at the frozen image, a slender human, soaked in sweat, fist raised, 70 tubes of meat paste inside him. The scanner's last recorded metric burned in red, 4.1 times the lethal ingestion volume of every known species. And yet, he did not reach for the useless memorial statement. He reached toward the transmit key. The galaxy would know. He drew back from the transmit key. A raw data dump was not enough. He needed a formal report that could not be ignored. He retreated to his private office, leaving the wrecked lab, and Zix's fading screams behind him. A blank holographic document materialized. He typed the title, Preliminary Observations on Human Esophageal and Gastric Anomalies.
No subjective language, no emotional context, just the biology and the numbers.
Zix followed, still trembling, and compiled the contest footage into time-stamped evidence clips as he instructed.
Doctor, the stomach wall dilation at minute 6. It behaves like living polymer, not organic tissue.
Pes Vin typed. Subjects exhibit voluntary pyloric sphincter control, bypassing normal gastric peristalsis.
A predator adaptation, and they turned it into a festival.
The draft expanded, 10 pages, then 20. He cross-referenced every contest record, every species comparison, every stable vital sign. By the time he stopped, the preliminary report floated complete. It sat unsent, the transmit key now a guillotine. A priority hologram materialized. The smug face of Dr. Varn, his colleague from the compliance office, curled into a grin.
Varn's voice dripped with condescension. I heard about your little meltdown, Pes Vin. Smashed equipment over a human eating contest. You are making us all look unstable. I have 70 hot dogs worth of proof that the compact's biological laws are obsolete. This is not a joke. Varn's hologram leaned closer. Submit that petition, and you'll cause a diplomatic incident. Earth is a new ally. You fool. Think of the trade agreements. Trade agreements! They can swallow artillery shells, and you worry about trade. I'll submit it myself.
Varn's image flickered with a final dismissive laugh and dissolved. The silence afterward was thick with fallout.
They will choke on my evidence. Every mocking word.
He stormed back to the wrecked lab. Zix looked up from the shattered scanners, pale and trembling.
Prepare a formal reclassification petition template. We are petitioning the compact to reclassify humans as a biological threat.
Zix nodded, her purple hands already shaking as she began to type. The transmit key still lurked, but now it felt inevitable. The formal petition sprawled across the holographic screen. Pesvin fed it every scanner log, every historical statistic, every distorted clip of Joey chewing.
Doctor, if you submit this, every human on every compact world will be watched like a weapon. Please, let the diplomatic corps handle it.
The diplomatic corps doesn't know that a human can digest a bomb. This is threat assessment. Zix, galactic security.
He appended the contested footage as Exhibit A. Joey's stomach distending to 4.1 times lethal. The announcer's ecstatic roar over the top. The document's title finalized itself in bold alien script. Reclassification petition. Human esophageal capacity as strategic threat. On his desk, a printed photo of Joey mid-bite had been pinned to the corner. Zix's eyes kept drifting to it. The petition swelled to 400 pages. When the last appendix attached, the binder icon pulsed. Ready. His three-fingered hand hovered over the transmit key. The orange glow pooled in his palm.
Once I press this, there is no unwinding the compact's response. No recall, no apology.
The lab was silent. The petition waited. His hand remained suspended. The galaxy balanced on the tip of a single claw. On the lab's secondary monitor, the post-contest feed flickered. A reporter shoved a microphone toward Joey, who was wiping mustard from his jaw.
Joey Donovan, you just ate 70 hot dogs in 10 minutes. How do you feel?
Pretty good. I'm still a little hungry, actually. Maybe I'll grab a burger later.
In the Thelthar lab, Pesvin's claws dug into the console. The casual dismissal of a 4 times lethal ingestion broke something inside him. He grabbed a nearby sample jar, pressed his fanged mouth to the rim, and let out a raw, guttural howl that fogged the glass. Still screaming, his other hand slammed down on the transmit key. The orange glow blazed, then vanished. A flat chime confirmed transmission. The compact's reception seal materialized. Petition received. Subject: biological threat reassessment.
There is no taking it back. The galaxy will now see humans for what they are.
The lab fell quiet. On the screen, Joey was already signing autographs, utterly oblivious to the diplomatic bomb now traveling across the galaxy. Pesvin released the jar and stared at the transmission log. The petition was no longer his. It belonged to the compact, and the compact would have to answer. Pesvin could not sleep. He stayed in the wrecked lab, replaying the interview clip. "I am still a little hungry," played on loop.
Doctor, you haven't moved for 6 hours. The petition is already filed. Please rest.
Not enough. I'll add this interview as an addendum. The Council must see their nonchalance after ingesting lethal matter.
Your health is failing. You haven't eaten. Your scales are dulling. Let the compact evaluate what you sent.
This single clip proves they treat mass consumption as trivial. Varn will choke on it.
He spent the night editing, hour after hour, painstakingly time-stamping every swallow, highlighting Joey's smirk. When the first pale light of the Thelthar sun touched the spires, he hit the transmit key again. The addendum was delivered. A new confirmation seal materialized. He slumped back, the last of his energy gone.
Now they cannot ignore it. The humans are the galaxy's new apex predator.
Zix draped a thermal blanket over him. The petition, all 400 pages plus the interview, now sat irrevocably in the compact's queue, a sharp chime. cut through the lab. A priority message from the compact unfurled in front of Pesvin, its seal cold and official. The text read, "Received. Emergency review scheduled. Petition assigned docket threat -782. Hearing in 3 cycles."
3 cycles. Then the galaxy either brands me a hero or a paranoid fool who broke diplomacy.
He imagined Earth's ambassador receiving the notice, reading the phrase strategic threat, and then imagining the human fleet mobilizing.
I may have just started a war with a species that treats its own death as a snack.
Doctor, you should see this. It's the human, Joey. He's on the news again.
She expanded a secondary feed, a commercial for a human protein bar. Joey's grinning face beside the words, "New endorsement deal."
He's already capitalizing on the contest. He has no idea we flagged his entire species.
That's precisely the problem. They don't see it. They never will.
The irony twisted in his gut like something undigested. He had sent the petition, but the real threat was still in Coney Island, ordering a burger. A second formal communiqué materialized, bearing the compact's iris seal. This was not an automated receipt. It was a summons. The text read, "Dr. Pes Vin, your presence is commanded at emergency review session 782. You will present your findings in person before the full council." Without hesitation, he gathered the petition binder, all 400 pages, and began assembling a visual presentation.
Doctor, I'll come with you. You should not face this alone.
This will determine the fate of 2 civilizations. I appreciate that.
His eyes drifted to the printed photo of Joey pinned to the wall, mid-bite, mustard smeared, utterly oblivious.
They consume destruction like it's a meal, and yet I cannot despise them for it.
There was something in that dead-eyed stare, a pure, biological honesty, no malice, only capacity.
Perhaps I am the one who has been misunderstood, Zix, but the petition stands. Let us go.
With the binder under one arm and Zix at his side, Pesvin moved toward the transport bay. The council awaited. The massive doors of the compact council chamber sealed behind him. A horseshoe of alien delegates sat in judgment, their countless eyes fixed on the central podium. Pesvin set the heavy binder on the podium. The title gleamed, "Human Esophageal Capacity as Strategic Threat." He activated the first holographic slide. He played the scanner data first. A 3D stomach inflated on screen, crossing lethal thresholds for 50 species without rupture. Gasps echoed. Then he played the contest footage. Joey's dead-eyed chewing, the announcer's ecstatic roar, and finally, the interview. "I am still a little hungry." Silence. Then a cacophony of alien voices. The chairman, a towering insectoid, raised a chitinous appendage for order. A vote was called. Bioluminescent indicators flickered across the chamber, a purple sea of assent, a scattering of dissent. The chairman's voice resonated through the chamber, cold and final.
Earth is hereby flagged as biologically non-compliant. All human representatives are barred from competitive consumption-based diplomacy effective immediately.
A formal notice materialized on the main screen, its red lettering searing the verdict into compact law. Pesvin let out a breath he hadn't realized he held. A holographic globe of Earth spun in the center of the chamber, a red X burning over its surface. Human diplomacy had just been rewritten by a hot dog. The notice arrived at the United Nations office on a secure, compact channel. Ambassador Reyes, a veteran diplomat, opened the file with practiced calm. Her tablet displayed the galactic compact seal. Then, the header, Biological Non-Compliance Notice. Her brow furrowed. The text read, "Earth is hereby flagged as biologically non-compliant. All human representatives are barred from competitive consumption-based diplomacy, effective immediately." Ambassador Reyes stared at the words. Then a laugh burst out of her, sharp, incredulous. It echoed in the quiet office. She summoned her senior aide, still chuckling, and thrust the tablet toward him. The aide scanned the verification codes, his face losing color. He confirmed it was authentic, voted on by the full council. 70 hot dogs had just become a diplomatic incident. The laughter died in her throat. This was not a prank. Competitive eating had been reclassified as a strategic threat. She set the tablet down. The absurdity of 70 hot dogs reshaping interstellar relations. A chill settled in the room. She began drafting a response to the Secretary General, but the words blurred. A man in a jersey had just rewritten human foreign policy. In a gleaming Thelthar corporate office, Joey Donovan put his signature on a holographic contract. A blue-skinned official grinned, his toothy grin wide.
You are telling me I get paid to eat more stuff? Sign me up, pal.
The commercial set was a mock spaceship bridge. Joey held a silver protein bar to the camera, a studio light glinting off the wrapper. The wrapper's slogan gleamed: Xenoprotein bars, the only bar tough enough for human digestion, in bold, alien script. Joey bit into the dense bar. His jaw worked mechanically. Then he forced a grin for the camera.
That's robust. Tastes like victory, you know.
Back in the Thelthar lab, Pes Vin watched the commercial on a public broadcast feed. He did not blink.
They still think it's a joke. We flagged them as a threat, and they use it to sell protein bars.
A promotional graphic flashed. Joey in a parody spacesuit, brandishing the bar. The tagline read, "Human tested, galaxy approved." The irony coiled beneath Pes Vin's scales. The most dangerous species in the compact had just become an intergalactic snack brand. 6 months after the council ruling, Dr. Pes Vin stood at attention as a senior official pinned a new insignia to his coat. The cold Thelthar script read, Chief Xenobiological Threat Assessor. His new office was a cavern of data. The far wall was entirely a blackboard. In his own spidery script, he had begun a list. Nathan's famous. 70 Ironman triathlon, freediving records, hot wing challenge. He lifted the chalk and added a note beside Ironman. 8-hour sustained cardiovascular strain without caloric intake. Beside the list, a single photograph was pinned. Joey Donovan mid-bite, sweat slicked, dead-eyed.
Subject 0. The thread that unraveled the galaxy's comfort.
In precise script, he wrote the words beneath the photo. The board stretched for meters. Barely a fifth of it was filled. He turned to the next empty space and wrote, Spicy Wing Challenge, 312 wings in 30 minutes. A new threat to assess. Dr. Pes Vin set the chalk down and stepped back. The blackboard loomed, a monument to a species he still could not fully comprehend. Dozens of human activities now populated the list. Each one a voluntary defiance of biological common sense. His gaze settled on the photo of Joey. Subject 0. Still chewing, still hungry. A faint sound reached him. Distant and tinny. A recording of a crowd cheering from an old Coney Island broadcast. He did not silence it. The noise filled the quiet office like an echo of the threat itself. The camera lingered on Joey's face. Dead-eyed, relentless, eternally consuming. Pes Vin reached out and dimmed the desk lamp. The blackboard faded into shadow. Only the photo remained faintly visible. Its image burned into the dark. The screen faded to black. The last sound was the ghost of a crowd roaring for a record that had changed everything.